After the adrenaline is out of your system.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. All right, can we have roll call, please?
Vice Chair Harrell. Commissioner Bachman.
Present.
Commissioner Hunter. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Stelter. Here. Commissioner Wynn. Here.
Okay, all right, we have a forum and we can continue. Next is approval of the agenda.
I would like to make an amendment to this agenda to remove the appointment of officers. We're not here.
Yeah. All in favor?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
I,
Do we get a motion in a second?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, good. Sorry.
All right. All right, so approval of the agenda minus the equipment officers. Can I get a motion to approve?
Can I ask one more thing? Do we
Yeah.
want actions and presentations? That looks like a throwback to our regular meetings.
Because we only have
Yeah.
one agenda. item.
So we should probably remove F as well.
No, there might be comments,
Well,
No,
no,
no, this is something else entirely.
not
right.
really.
The hearing is all good, but we have public comments. There's no actions or presentations.
Right.
So
Oh,
I'd like to suggest that we also remove F.
I move to amend the agenda to remove item F as well.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
I
Aye.
All right, that motion passed.
move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have our public hearing.
Oh, we'll get minutes.
Yes, approval of minutes. Oh, they were so complex. Yes. Took a lot of time to go through this. All right. Can I get,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from October 6th, 2025.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. All right, next we get to the public hearing. All right, let's see if I can get all the appropriate things here. All right, I will now open the public hearing on the application submitted by, oh, that I don't have. Michael Cook,
Correct.
by Michael Cook of the property located at 1200 3rd Street, Unit 4, Peonia, Colorado, 428, to consideration of a special use review to additional guest parking spot west of Unit 4 in the Silverleaf Co-housing Development. Oh, Michael, okay. The purpose of this hearing is to provide a public forum for all interested parties who wish to comment on these applications before the Peonia Planning Commission. Did it yet? Okay, the procedure for the public hearing will be as follows. First, we will have a presentation by town staff. Next, there will be a 5-minute presentation by the applicant. After these two presentations, we will allow members of the public to speak for up to 5 minutes. All testimony must be presented at the lectern after you give your full name and address, and I swear you that. Please do not repeat points made by others, but it's fine to say that you agree or disagree with a comment previously made. Please direct all your comments to the commission. The commission, and not to the town staff or the applicant. After receiving public comments, we will allow the applicant and town staff an opportunity to respond and answer any questions raised by the public comments. I will then turn the matter over to the planning commission, and the commissioners may ask questions of anyone who testifies. We generally will not ask questions during the presentations. Finally, I will close the public hearing, and the commissioners will discuss the matter and may take some kind of action. Once the public hearing has closed, no further comment from the applicant or public will be taken. However, the commissioners may ask advice from the town attorney. Public hearings are recorded for the public record. Do we have? Right, no. Okay,
I didn't know if the attorney was here.
I excused it. for this meeting.
oh, okay, forget the town attorney, we won't be asking any. Do we have proper notification?
Yes.
Okay, do any commission members have any disclosures?
Do you have the public notices?
In third Sam's office.
Okay,
Personally, no.
oh, there you go.
Okay.
I just want to get that on the record that he personally mailed them.
I did personally.
Okay. Disclosures, members of the?
None.
No, okay. All right, would the town administrator please present the staff presentation?
Yep, so bear with me, I have to go through all of this, even though things may happen, but I gotta go through every single step of this. The background, special review 2025-01 application for special use review as outlined in section 16-440 in the town of Paonia's municipal code of ordinances for the parcel number 324-506-114016. The property commonly known as 325 Great, I have the wrong address. The property known as 1200 3rd Street, Unit 4, Paonia, Colorado 81428. Property is currently listed as, that is wrong, as R2. The applicant has submitted SRV 2025-01 requesting approval for a driveway, and it should be a PUD, it's a PUD R2. For a driveway and parking space along Clark Avenue, serving Unit 4 of the Silverleaf Townhomes. The parcels within the Silverleaf subdivision governed by the Silverleaf Development Agreement of 2016 and associated as-built drawings recorded with Delta County. The proposed location lies within the subdivision's bioswale and drainage swale system constructed for stormwater conveyance along Clark Avenue. Field verification indicates that the proposed parking space is angled relative to the roadway rather than perpendicular as required by town standards, that there's an approximate 5 to 6 foot fall between the roadway edge and the proposed parking pad elevation. The driveway shown in the 2016 plans was previously relocated during subdivision construction to avoid severe grade conflicts between 3rd Street and Clark Avenue, as noted in the as-built drawings and engineer's narratives. General information, zoning and land use. The property is zoned R2 medium density residential within the Silverleaf subdivision. All access improvements must conform to the subdivision's recorded plans, the municipal code, and reference Delta County standards. All applicable application or regulations, Paonia Municipal Code, Chapter 16, particularly section 16.610 through 16.770, off-street parking and access. Delta County Roadway Design Standards, August 15th, 2014, adopted by reference to the Silverleaf Development Agreement for Access and Drainage Design. Silverleaf Development Agreement 2016, establishing common drainage features, shared maintenance responsibilities, and required conformance with approved construction plans. Colorado Revised Statute, Section 42.4.1204, prohibiting parking in any location that obstructs traffic within a drainage or excavation area or where stopping would interfere with roadway safety. These are the documents reviewed. SRV 2025-01 application and site plan, Silverleaf Development Agreement 2016, Delta County Roadway Standards, August 15th, 2014, Chapter 16 of the Town of Paonia Municipal Code, recorded deeds for Unit 4, 2016, property record card R024578, Silverleaf as-built construction drawings, Planning Commission minutes, January 14th, 2016, Joint Town Board and Planning Commission minutes, January 26th, 2016, Board of Trustees minutes, February 23rd, 2016, confirming subdivision approval and execution of the development agreement. There's a lot, that's why there's 402 pages in this package, so I apologize. Required findings needed to consider a special use review as established in PMC section 16.450, site plan review criteria and performance standards. A, the criteria for review and performance standards are as follows. 1, compliance of the application with this code in general. The proposed driveway and parking pad do not comply with requirements of Article 6, off-street parking and loading. Section 16.610 requires off-street spaces to be located on the lot and unobstructed. The proposed pad lies within a public drainage easement, not within the private lot's approved boundaries, and therefore cannot qualify as an off-street parking space. Section 16.660A through B requires all parking areas to be unobstructed and provide lawful access to and from the street. The proposed location obstructs the engineered bioswale and lacks a legal access. Section 16.660C requires a double surface such as asphalt or concrete. The applicant has not provided a surfacing plan or structural edge treatment. Section 16.660J requires driveways and parking areas to be designed with adequate aisle spacing and safe approach geometry. The proposed space is angled, not perpendicular, and features a 5 to 6 foot elevation change from roadway edge, creating an unsafe entry grade. Section 16.660H requires landscape drainage areas. The proposed pad will replace an existing bioswale with a semi-impervious surface, eliminating required stormwater functionality. The angled configuration and location of the subdivision's bioswale violate both the town's zoning and engineering standards, as well as the Silverleaf Development Agreement for 2016, which mandates conformance to approved drainage and grading plans. Therefore, the application fails to meet general compliance with the Payne Municipal Code. The proposal fails to comply with multiple provisions of Article 6 and therefore does not meet the minimum standards of the Payne Municipal Code. Number 2, compatibility of the proposed use and site plan with the character of the surrounding area. The surrounding properties within the Silverleaf subdivision maintain consistent approved access points and unified drainage infrastructure. Proposed modification introduces an unapproved and unsafe deviation from the subdivision's established pattern, potentially affecting shared stormwater performance. As such, the proposal is not compatible with subdivision's design character or existing residential access patterns. The application is incompatible with the surrounding residential development pattern and subdivision's recorded design intent. Number 3, the desirability and need for the proposed use. While the applicant's intent to add off-street parking is understandable, the subdivision was approved and constructed with designated parking and access consistent with town standards. Proposed additional driveway does not represent a public necessity and may undermine the approved subdivision drainage system. Therefore, the desirability and need are outweighed by the potential negative impacts on shared infrastructure and public safety. The proposed additional parking does not represent a public necessity and may harm established infrastructure. Number 4, the potential for adverse environmental influences that might result from the proposed use. Proposed driveway is located directly within an engineered bioswale designed to convey runoff from Clark Avenue. Altering the drainage feature by filling or paving could reduce stormwater flow capacity, create ponding, and redirect runoff toward adjacent properties. This would constitute an adverse environmental influence contrary to Section 3.1 of the Silverleaf Development Agreement, requiring preservation of common drainage improvements. Project presents clear adverse environmental impacts by obstructing stormwater infrastructure. Number 5, compatibility of the proposed use and site plan with the policies and guidelines of the comprehensive plan. The 2025 Paonia Comprehensive Plan establishes a clear policy framework under its infrastructure element that prioritizes dependable, safe, sustainable infrastructure systems. The plan envisions an infrastructure that is proactive, environmentally responsible, and protective of community assets and neighboring properties. Several adopted goals and policies directly relate to the proposed site modification. Infrastructure Goal 2 calls for the town to plan, budget, operate, and maintain stormwater, water treatment, and green infrastructure and support quality public services and health, water availability, and safety. Infrastructure Goal number 11 seeks to protect the community from adverse flooding and pollution impacts of runoff with efficient and progressive stormwater management practices. Stormwater Policy 2 directs the town to codify and create standards for stormwater mitigation requirements for new development and ensure that drainage system design and construction are kept current. While Stormwater Policy 3 requires that new development preserve natural drainage courses and, where necessary, be supported by an engineered drainage system. The proposed driveway and parking pad would obstruct an engineered bioswale that functions as shared stormwater management feature, directly conflicting with the plan's commitment to resilient, environmentally sound infrastructure. By disrupting natural and engineered drainage pathways, the project undermines the town's stormwater goals of reducing pollutant discharge, preventing flooding, and coordinating with regional partners such as Delta County and local ditch companies. Furthermore, the comprehensive plan's infrastructure vision promotes proactive maintenance, preservation of public safety, and design consistency within established residential areas. The introduction of non-engineered private improvements within a shared drainage easement is incompatible with the plan's guiding principles of equitable infrastructure stewardship and neighborhood scale resilience. The proposed project does not align with the 2025 comprehensive plan's infrastructure, stormwater, and land use goals. It compromises established drainage systems, contradicts stormwater management policies, and fails to uphold the town's long-term vision for safe, sustainable, and well-coordinated infrastructure. Lights and signs shall be located in a manner that will not be distracting to adjoining properties or motorists. No additional lighting or signage is proposed as part of this application. Therefore, this criterion is not applicable. C, landscaping shall be provided in areas near public right-of-way and located with consideration for energy conservation. An acceptable plan must be provided for the maintenance of required landscaped areas. The driveway encroaches into an area designated for stormwater management rather than as landscaped open space. Disturbing this feature would eliminate vegetation critical to infiltration and erosion control. Restoration or replacement of this landscaping would be necessary if any work were approved. D, control of storm drainage shall be provided so as to not damage adjoining properties. Plan must be approved by the town engineer. Control of storm drainage is a critical deficiency in this application. The proposed location within the bioswale would obstruct design flow paths, potentially damage adjoining properties. Any approval would require an engineered drainage plan reviewed and certified by a Colorado licensed engineer and approved by the town administrator or designee. Without such documentation, the plan fails to satisfy the standards. The design does not include an engineered culvert or certified drainage plan to maintain the bioswale's function. Any alteration of a subdivision drainage facility requires professional engineering review and town approval. Without such a design, the project fails to meet the performance standard for drainage control under section 16450D and the intent of Article 6. Site design and building plan shall include provisions for the needs of handicapped individuals as required by the building code or other ordinance of the town. This is not applicable. The proposal concerns vehicular access to a private unit and does not include pedestrian or ADA accessible design elements. Approved that landscaping or solid fencing capable of screening adjacent properties shall be provided for commercial uses of residential uses. Again, this one is not applicable. Use is residential in character, but it's not about a commercial zone. However, any grading or drainage modifications shall maintain existing vegetative cover consistent with subdivision standards. G, commercial industrial uses shall conform to the following performance standards. All of these were not applicable. Subject property is zoned R2, medium density residential. Does not involve commercial or industrial activity. However, general nuisance and environmental standards are relevant to ensure no adverse drainage, glare, or noise impacts extend beyond the property. In addition, Colorado revised statutes must also be followed. The proposal as presented doesn't follow CRS. The steep slope and angled orientation create unsafe conditions for vehicles entering or exiting the space. The design also places parked vehicles adjacent to the roadway edge, conflicting with CRS 424-1204-1E, which prohibits stopping or parking along excavations or obstructions that impede traffic. This is a summary of the findings. Based on the evidence and documentation reviewed, the proposed driveway and parking space at 1200 3rd Street, Unit 4, failed to meet the minimum design and safety requirements of PMC Section 16610 to Section 16670, conflict with the Silverleaf Development Agreement and recorded as-bills, present unacceptable drainage and grading impacts, pose potential safety and traffic hazards under CRS 424-1204. Accordingly, the proposal does not satisfy the site plan review criteria and performance standards set forth in PMC Section 16450 and is not recommended for approval. Staff analysis. The applicant's proposal presents multiple conflicts with approved subdivision drainage and safety standards. Relocating or redesigning the access outside of the bioswale would be required for compliance. Engineering evidence shows the bioswale was intentionally obstructed to protect both roadway integrity. It was intentionally constructed to protect both roadway integrity and private improvements downstream, and any disturbance within engineered mitigation may cause flooding or sedimentation. While staff recognizes the desire for direct access to Clark Avenue, the physical and regulatory constraints make the site location infeasible without substantial modification and professional design. The application as submitted does not meet the intent of the town's access, drainage, or safety standards. So we have two recommendations here. Staff recommends denial of SRV 2025-01 based on the following findings. The proposed driveway conflicts with Silverleaf Development Agreement 2016 and approved as-built drainage infrastructure. The design does not comply with Delaware County roadway standards or PMC Section 16610 through 16670. The location presents significant safety and drainage risks inconsistent with public welfare, and the proposal may result in a violation of CRS 424-1204 by locating parking adjacent to an active drainage system. We do offer an alternative or conditional approval if granted by this commission. If the planning commission determines the request may proceed, staff recommends conditional approval subject to the following minimum requirements. 1, an engineer's design. A licensed Colorado engineer shall prepare drainage and access plans, verifying that stormwater capacity and roadway safety are maintained. 2, culvert installation. The engineer shall design and size a culvert adequate to preserve the bioswale's function. 3, perpendicular alignment. The driveway must be realigned to intersect Clark Avenue at a perpendicular angle. Number 4, concrete edge treatment. A reinforced concrete edge pan, minimum of 6 inches wide and 8 inches deep, shall be installed at the street interface. That's where the driveway meets the road. 5, post-construction certification. The applicant shall provide a certified engineer's letter confirming that the bioswale and roadway edge have been restored to design standards. And then there are 2 potential motions. That's it.
Okay.
Staff report.
Are there any other comments? Obviously not. Okay. the applicant presentation. Would the applicant or the applicant's representative please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record and take the oath? Okay,
Good evening, everyone.
wait a minute. Do you swear to tell the truth in this matter?
I do.
All right. Continue.
Good evening. Let me say to begin with, it wasn't my intent to be such a scofflaw in all this. I really had no idea that it was, the proposal was so completely out of compliance, and I acknowledge that it is, and I don't, so I apologize for taking your time with that. What I do want you to know is that I've retained Jeff Rupert, who was the engineer who did the design work for the civil design work for it all. And I met with him this afternoon, and he's prepared to do a proper design that would meet the kind of the alternative path that has been outlined here. So I don't want to try to defend the original proposal at all. I recognize it was inadequate and inappropriate, and that a proper engineered proposal needs to be done. And I'd like to ask for the opportunity to do that. So that's really all I have to say.
Okay. Anything from town staff?
Is this the rebuttal?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, so there, yes, that was the information why Commissioner Hunter couldn't be here. She's had to recuse herself after her husband was retained, which is completely understandable. And this would make sense that if this were the path to go and this alternative conditional approval were to be considered tonight, one of the motions could be to what's the word I'm looking for, Ruben?
Table?
Not table, because you can't table
Right,
this.
it's,
Conditional?
no, it's, we will.
No,
Sorry.
It's not postponed, it's a word that it will come to the next meeting, and it's not table means it's off the table.
Mhm.
What's the, I know what you mean. I can't think of the word.
Yeah.
It'll come to one of us.
Yeah, at some point.
And when we do make that motion, or if we make that motion, it has to be for a definitive time.
Ah.
So you can't just, that's why you can't just table it, because then it would languish forever. It has to be, it would go back before the planning commission at such and such time and date.
Yes.
How much time is your engineer gonna need?
We preliminarily have to do a topographic survey. We looked at the topo lines on the city, on the drawings. And I don't think they're accurate, so a new topographic survey has to be done. And I've also met with the surveyor, and he's got a survey scheduled, said he wouldn't get to it for a few weeks. I don't know how long Mr. Rupert will take. But I think it's gonna take a while. So the other issue,
Not make it by the first of next month then.
I don't think so.
So we're probably talking, continue this in January.
Continue, yeah.
You know, and if I could ask your indulgence, if it would be possible to continue it until March, that would be preferable. I'm just gonna be unavailable for much of the winter. So if that would be acceptable, that would be terrific. And that would, then we would know we'd have time to get all the engineering done and there, we won't be rushed.
One of the things, unfortunately, I have a little knowledge just because I've lived here, and there are utilities in that swale.
That's right, just.
So I forgot public
Yeah.
comment. So we need to do public comment. I jumped.
So utilities have actually been marked. They're marked right now, for a different reason. But you're absolutely right. There are utilities.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask you to sit down and we're gonna take public comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I will now open the public comment portion of the public hearing. Any speakers, please clearly state your full name and address for the record and speak from the podium and wait to talk until you get sworn in. Does anybody want to make a comment? Yes, sir.
Reed Hunker. I'm in unit number 3, right next door to the north.
Okay, all right. Can you swear to tell the truth in this matter?
Absolutely, yes. Everything that was, mentioned here. That stuff was answered my questions. So I really don't have any other comments other than. We were thinking about possibly expanding the existing 2-car parking places that we have, the guest parking on the, where it's flat. It's right outside of unit 3. We're thinking about adding one more to the right of that. So that would be 3 guest parking places there. And then have a crusher fine path going to 4. Something that we're considering providing as a board. Because parking is at a premium, as we know. But those would be all grouped together. And that's basically it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to make a comment? Okay, seeing none, I will now close the public comment portion of this hearing. All right. Before we turn to the commissioner questions and deliberation, I want to state that the documents included as part of the record for this public hearing include all the application materials submitted by the applicant, all materials included in the packet, all written referral and public comments received during the application, the notice of hearings, and the town's ordinances, as well as Colorado revised statute and the homeowners association from the Silver Lake. Does anyone have any objection to the inclusion of these items in the record? No? Okay, seeing none. Trustee or commissioners, who would like to begin? Obviously, you still had something to say, Mr. Still.
That area has utilities in it. And the utilities would have to be relocated so they're not more than the stated depth. If you put fill in there. I believe it's telephone and also an electrical goes through that area. As I recall, as it was being built and I drove by. That's a pretty serious thing. We can't go burying it 5-6 feet deep, deeper than it is now. We have a short distance for a reason. It would have to be lifted then. And I'm sure that Jeff has he'll be very conscious. So, as far as that goes, anybody else have anything?
I was curious, if you look at exhibit A on page, I don't know what page, hang on, hold on. Page 20. The first thing I noticed is the 2 columnar units sitting right by the edge of the drawing, which I don't know, but are those utilities? The
That's,
gas and
it's telecommunications.
Yes, they're,
Telecommunications.
it's internet, it's fiber.
okay, and then I couldn't tell what the square box appears to be in the uppermost corner in the photo. It looks like
It's a flat rock.
it's a rock. Okay, so when I was looking at the drawings, the reason you've gone this way is because there were 2 squares that were highlighted on some of the other drawings, which had a arrow that said parking. And it looked like this was designed to avoid those 2 highlighted in yellow
Oh, yeah.
rectangles. And what page is that on, Rick? You found it?
Yeah. Page
Yeah.
24.
So there we go. So your drawing, is angled to the south. And then it looks like it's to avoid those 2 rectangles, sorry. Got my geometry wrong. And I didn't know what those 2 rectangles actually are that are highlighted in yellow.
Those are.
Just let me point them out to make sure.
Yes, please, that'd be great.
Yeah, you're talking, yeah,
Right,
on the drawings that were part of the development agreement, that was where 2 parking spots were shown to be. On original drawings, during construction, I think because of the slope there, they moved the parking area down to where the blue area is. Recognizing that's not to scale. I mean, those, I sketched those in,
Mhm.
but the two triangles were the originally designed parking spaces that were not built.
So can you then tell me why you wanna, you've proposed to do this parking spot at an angle? I don't understand why you're not doing it
You
perpendicular.
know, it's kind of a long story. Originally, I thought it would be more in this way because this is a steep drop off.
Mhm.
And it was to avoid that steep drop off and supposedly, I thought it would be an easier approach. There'd be less disturbance. I recognize now that's inappropriate. And I think I frankly don't think it's gonna be a problem dealing with that steeper drop off after talking with Jeff Rupert. He didn't seem to be concerned about that. And in some respects, I agree it would be better for it to be perpendicular to Clark.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I wondered if that you drew it deliberately to avoid the two yellow rectangles. Because they really did have some
no,
presence on the ground, but they don't. This is all, okay. Anything else?
I might as well show you this since you were asking. This was a video taken from a site. What site is it? So you can see kind of what the. Well, maybe.
Well, there are the two utility poles. Yeah, it just, it looks to me like you don't have enough room without hitting those poles. Those two standpipe things.
Well, you can see the, yeah, so, but
It's what it looked like in the drawing too. I mean, it could be an optical illusion. But because the parking, I think, doesn't it have to be 19 feet long and I forget what our code requires a certain configuration for parking. It has to has to be a maximum or a minimum of 19 by 9 or something. I'd have to go back.
I'd have to look, but these are the things that an engineer would do.
Right.
They also take into account, any existing utility conflicts and design something around that.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, the engineering is all really good. But if you can make sure that what Jeff is looking at meets our code as much as possible, that you're not having to ask for a variance, so let's say on the size of the parking space. Because the sections of chapter 16 mentioned in the report, that's where there's, the specifications for the size of the parking spot. And this met it and exceeded it. But it seems to me if you're going to go back to the drawing board, I would ensure that as much of what we already require is presented. Because then you may not even have to come to the planning commission, honestly. I mean, if you meet things, okay, you might have to with
It's still,
swale,
it's because it was a.
the drainage, because of the drainage, okay. But if you can minimize the questionable pieces, it makes it easier on everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw this, and I was reading through this, the slant of the parking would really bother me, especially since most people coming in would come in from the south to the north, and this is canted in exactly the opposite direction,
Right.
so it would make it very difficult
Mhm.
to get in and get out and not impede traffic as well as the big drop off. So the fact that all those things could be addressed by an engineer and done well and minimize all the issues would be good.
Can I ask I know where the existing parking is, just from walking enough going to the bakery? So it looks like is where you would have currently the designed parking spot, which is on the original plans, which is next to your unit, I believe, Reed. And so would expanding it to include one more space, would you be dealing with the same issues with drainage, with you mean it might avoid a lot of the drainage issues?
I don't think drain there. That drain that's in the picture, it looks like the drain continues front of our house, but that was just a fake drain we put in to make it look like the rest of
Oh. Okay.
it. And it's relatively flat, but we still have to maintain a swale for the water coming from the south to get to the next drainage, which is just past our house.
But it sounds like adding another space to that already existing two parking space might have less engineering needs.
So,
It would definitely have less engineering. What? You get another, the issue is, if I can point it out, is that there is already an EV charger on the house. The previous owner used this area to park and to charge his vehicle, and so my initial thought was, well, I'm just gonna be improving what's already been approved. I didn't know that none of it had been approved. And so the dilemma that you point out, you could add another spot down here, but it would, then the EV charger would not.
well, the EV charger could be moved
Exactly.
wherever the.
That would present a whole nother area of problems,
Put it on a
right?
pedestal.
With easements and, you know, putting a charging station on property that is in joint, joint ownership.
Right.
So that presents an issue, so.
As I recall, when this was approved way back in the dark ages, one of the reasons why it was presented and brought to the town was that there would be very limited parking in that area and that there would be limited traffic. And this is kind of, it's the letting the camel get its nose under the edge of the tent. Pretty soon you got all the whole herd of camels in your tent. It really takes away from the planned unit development and why it was developed. It was developed as a limited access. And, guest parking is great, but they can park on the street. They can't park on Third but they can park on, not Clark, Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota, yeah.
Where it turns into the subdivision. There is adequate space there for parking on the sides. And it's on the other side of the development, I understand, but that would be the logical thing for guests to do. It's only temporary and it eliminates this whole process. I think this may be a bit more expensive than what you would like to do. There also were variances so that they didn't have to pave the parking lot, and that may have to go away as well as part of the deal. It was mainly to keep the costs down for senior co-housing. I understand that it didn't happen that way. The housing got to be extraordinarily expensive, but the plan was this would be affordable housing for seniors.
Anything else?
So I'm not sure I knew there was an EV that the person in number 4, the previous owner had put in. Is that your motivation for wanting to put in the parking space, is to be access for your vehicle to the EV charger?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
I'm asking because I did not pick this up when I was reading the packet. Is your motivation so that you could have a vehicle plugged into that existing EV charger? Is that really more your motivation than just additional?
I don't have an EV vehicle myself right now. It is a piece of the puzzle to have it. It would be a benefit to me to have it, clearly. Have it there and available. I think it could also be made available to the rest of the development as well. There's another EV charger next door. I don't know if it's made available to other visitors, but I'm prepared to do that with this EV charging because it's a guest spot. So you'd have to figure out how you charge someone to do it, but that's perfectly okay. So it would that would be another addition, a benefit, it seems to me, to the community.
I have another question. It might be that Reed would answer it, because
Okay.
if I can, it's an electrical question. So was that, I know there's solar panels, in the back of the property. Is this off the grid or are those just augmenting? Those solar panels? Okay,
And there's an EV charger back there that we put in for, actually public can use it.
oh,
They
okay.
can, it shows up on the EV map. And we put it in the credit card or whatever.
Thanks. I didn't see it on the map. Thank you. I was looking for a friend. it didn't show up, but that's why I didn't know it was there and I was just curious. So,
But yeah, there is an EV charger back there,
okay.
dedicated spot for that.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I do want to say that, our intent is not to design it here.
Mm-mm.
That's for the engineer, and it's really up to the applicant if, if he would like to move forward, and go that route, or whether or not he, will it. So, sounds like he's already engaged an engineer to start moving forward, so it sounds like we're going down that path of wanting to do what's necessary to obtain it.
I'd like to make a motion.
I think I have it supposed to be that, okay.
Yes.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
So, we have a motion, we have 4 things that the staff found. So here's my question. So if Mr. Cook goes ahead with Rupert and does all the engineering, I don't know that necessarily means that it's approved. I mean, that's why it's putting us in a really odd position here. I feel a little bit in an odd position. That if we say, yeah, go ahead and spend the money, go and bring it to us, that doesn't mean it's gonna get approved. Because there are parts of your plan that, unless they're well addressed, like the drainage, we would need to be convinced that you have addressed every one of those original agreements that came with the development and the things that Rick was discussing. The intention was not to have a lot of cars there, a lot of traffic. And I know the people that lived across the street, they've since moved. That's why there's no parking on the west side of Clark, is because those people were really upset because they were promised no traffic and there was traffic. And that really kind of came about when, no fault of the people in Silverleaf, but when the Quonset hut became a restaurant in various iterations, there was a lot of traffic for people. I was one of them eating pizza. They had a pizza oven. They had really marvelous, it was like the beginning of cottage industry dinners. So there was a lot of traffic. So those folks had moved, and they moved because they were upset with the traffic that came in that they were told wouldn't be there. So I guess I'm just saying, I would hope, and if I can say this, please, I think it'd be really good if you got with Stefan to be sure that if you're going to spend the money to get this engineered, that we don't come back with the same questions or more. Because, yeah, if you understand what I'm saying, we can't guarantee we'd approve it unless you have really, the best thing you could do was create this in such a way you don't need a variance or you don't need a special review.
But it's
Oh, it is? So I didn't know that. So
It would have to go to the city.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And why is that?
because it's a planned unit development and any changes in a planned unit development have to go through the.
Oh, special
zoning
review.
And then
Okay,
Because we're amending the agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
from 2016.
this is contract.
that kind of makes my point even more. That you really want to make sure that what you're doing is approvable. I mean, you could spend all this money and we don't approve it and and then it would go to the trustees, right?
It would.
And I feel like we're in an odd spot,
I don't.
you know?
I don't. So there are 4 reasons for that denial, based on the review. And there was a path forward based on what was found to be deficient in the application that would grant an approval or give a process for approval, sorry, a pathway for approval, should the OB met in the affirmative. And I think if we were to start looking at what it would take, and again, public hearings could go any way based on testimony that's received. So there is, no matter what, even if this were a open and cut, there's never 100% chance that any special use review is gonna be approved
Right.
based on public hearing. But if we look at the 5 criteria for that alternative conditional approval, and we're okay with that, we're not saying go do this and we're gonna give you an approval. We're saying these are the things that we would need to be able to have answered for us to hear it again, if this were continued.
And I agree, I think those 4 things are good, but I'm concerned about these utilities,
So
and that did not come up.
that could be number 6. So there are 6 different things here for a condition of approval. And if we said, okay, we really want to know about utility conflicts and make sure that there aren't any, that would be something you would say, but we wouldn't be using either of these motions if we continue. Right? There would be a third motion that would be made to continue this to the first meeting in March, which is March 2nd. And that would give enough time for all of those to be answered. What we could say is, we'd really like to have those questions answered, those 5 questions, with the addition of a 6th for utility conflicts.
Okay,
So, I mean, that's a good question. With fiber right there, you don't want to fiber.
all right, any other questions, comments?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, seeing none. Okay, I will now close the public hearing and turn the matter over to the commissioners for consideration of the resolution listed on the agenda. All right. So, any further discussion by the commissioners?
I think we heard from the applicant that his desire is to continue this to March 2nd. And that is the applicant's prerogative. So I would say if that's what is being requested, perhaps that's what we should be considering.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to continue this subject until the March 2nd meeting of 2026.
Can I add a comment? So is the expectation that this will,
I'll second that. So we can.
thank you.
Yeah,
We haven't talked about publication and public notice. So is the applicant going to have to, they will not have to start over?
by continuing it, we don't have to go and do a renotice. What we'll probably do is post it again like we did on it's a sandwich board in front of the unit as we get closer to that time.
Even with as much change in the application, you really don't think we have to do a publication again? What about mailing? Well, first of all, we never learned, did anybody protest? Were there any letters of protest to this?
No.
Okay. Okay, all right, if that's gonna work.
Yeah,
then-
and we can verify that as it would get closer to time with our town.
Well, it sounds good, because I hate to make this person pay it all over again. But I thought we better make that clear tonight before.
And that's why we were going down the path of continuing.
Right, but nobody understands what that really means.
That means.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know continuing meant it wouldn't have to go to another hearing, so that's why I wanted that to be.
No,
clear.
It will come back.
You know, I mean, going to publication.
Oh,
Doesn't
I
have to go in the
see.
newspaper, it doesn't have to be remailed to everyone living within 200 feet.
Right.
I wanted that to verify. Okay.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a
Yes.
second, further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Oh, do we need to do a roll call vote for a public hearing?
there's 4 of us.
Okay, we all said aye. All right, motion carries. All right. Then. Okay, motion carries, so. That's it, so
Hearing's over,
the
right?
hearing's over, I don't believe we had any more agenda items or anything.
I should adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting is adjourned, thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you. Welcome to the complexities of municipal government.
Yes. Very good, thanks for doing that.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Okay.
That was a lot of Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Any HOA meetings like that?
So long, I just had to show up. Yeah, whole time say.
Yeah.
Are you? Date, another date.
March second.
Okay.
Is that will you be back?
Should we move to the next meeting?
We've already said it. Well, I thought we were okay with March second.
Oh, yeah.
If you can attend by Zoom, and I would have Jeff attend as well.
Okay.
Will that give you enough time?
I just think. Mark. Maybe in an airport on March second.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know that
That's Monday.
well, let me just see if I
Okay.
let me see what I can do.
If
I
not,
have two more meetings or three meetings before then that we can definitely change that.
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
you
If
just have
that's
to let us.
necessary, just give
let
us.
us know.
Let me. I'll-
Yeah. And we can change,
Okay.
we just have to be back in session with a quorum and can change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being so understanding.